everybody do along with me. Minimize the given function to three literals. Okay, so here you can see that the function is given to f, which is a b c, or b c bar d, or a bar b c. So here you can see uh, how many literals are there. Obviously there are 9 literals. Okay, so these are all 9 literals. What you have to do, you have to reduce it to just to 3 literals. So 3 literals means either it is in the form of a b c d, but it will be in the only with 3 literals. So what you need to do, you can start applying different Boolean algebra postulates what you know till now. So see here, these are actually how many terms here? 1, 2 and 3. 3 terms are there. So it's having 9 literals and 3 terms over here. Okay, so see here what I have done, I am just making these two rearrange. So I am making this ABC or A bar BC or BC bar D. I just rearranged the equation, nothing else. I just rearranged the equation because I am going to use this later on in some different purpose to use the Boolean algebra. So see here, with these two I can take BC A or A bar. This is B C bar D. So which law we have used here? Very simple. We have used the distributive law, nothing else. We have used the distributive law over here, nothing else. Okay, so distributive law. Okay, next, as we know, BC A or A bar is 1. What is that? What postulate we have used? We have used postulate number 6, which is nothing else, the existence of complement. Okay, existence of complement. Okay, which is nothing else, A or A bar is 1. Okay, next, this is BC BC bar D. So we have used here postulate number 2, which is nothing else, existence of identity element 1, which is nothing else, A and 1 is A. So these are the things we have used. Next, can I use here by taking B C or C bar D? So what I have used? I have used again here the distributive law, nothing else. I have just used again the distributive law over here. Okay, distributive law. Okay, so I'm just seeing here, but here if I count it, how many literal students? So these are all 4 literals. So in the question they have been asked to reduce it to 3 literals. Obviously this is not the final answer, we have to reduce it down to further. So can I use it this way? B, can I do it like this? C or C bar, then C or D. Okay, so what we have used? We have used again the distributive law over here. So what is the distributive property we have used here? Distributivity of OR operator over AND operator. Okay, we have used here distributive law again. So and we can write down this C or C bar. Can I write down this way? 1 C or D. So here we have used again postulate number 6, which is existence of complement, which is nothing else, A or A bar is 1. We have used this. Then here B, C or D. So here you have used A and 1 is A, postulate number 2. So you can see now how many literals here? Just 3 literals. Do you all understand, students, how we have completed this 9 literals to 3 literals? So what we have done, we have used the distributive law initially here. Then finally we have used the postulate 6, which is actually existence of complement. Then we have used again the distributive law, nothing else. Then we have seen here it's just reduced to 4 literals, but our question has been asked you to reduce it up to 3 literals. So we have not achieved at our goal. In order to do that again further reduction, what we have used, again we have just find out the distributive law between these two. We have used the distributivity of OR operator over AND operator we have put here. Then finally we have seen that C or C bar is nothing else here, postulate number 6, existence of complement, to make it 1. Then multiplication of this AND operator 1 with C or D is nothing else your postulate number 2. Then finally we have achieved 3 literals to find out. So in this question they have been given you minimize the given function through 3 literals and design it. What you can do, you have to just take C or D like this. Okay, this will be C or D. Take B. Okay, make AND operator to this. So this is your final design. Okay, this is the logic equation you have designed where output is F, B, C, D are 3 literals to design that particular logic equation. Do you all understand, students? Very important concept I have told over here, nothing else. So the question will be given in this way. You would be use certain Boolean algebras, certain, these are your Boolean algebra or Boolean postulates and all, to reduce it down to the 4 literals or 3 literals and all. Okay, if the question is given to you minimize the given function to 4 literals, then this is the answer, students. Okay, and design it means you have to do this one. Okay, you have to do this one. Okay, so but here the question is given to minimize the given function to 3 literals. Obviously the answer would be this one. I have been reduced it to the 3 literals. So the next question, so before starting the question we'll have to study some of the different things actually here. So new topic here, complement of a given function. So very important, minimum 1 2 mark question or 5 mark question can expect from this. Okay, very important, you try to understand this concept, how is it actually happening and all. So see over here what I am doing, complement of a given function. So there are 2 different methods to solve this. Method 1, using De Morgan's theorem. You can use De Morgan's theorem, using De Morgan's theorem. You can use De Morgan's theorem to solve it up or to find a complement of a given function. So what you need to do, very simple. So see here, I'll just tell you how to use De Morgan's theorem to find the complement of a given function. So you know that De Morgan's theorem is nothing else, x or y whole bar is nothing else, break the bar and change the operator or to end. Similarly, x and y bar is nothing else, break the bar and change the operator end to or. So these are all De Morgan's theorem. We'll use this De Morgan's theorem to find the complement of a given function. See, this is the method 1. We'll discuss about method 2, don't worry. So now the question is, okay, find the complement. So very important, if you are not understanding, ask me immediately. Just unmute it and ask me. Find the complement of a given function f is x y bar or x bar y z, x y bar or x bar y z. So what you need to do, you have to find out complement of that function f is x y bar or x bar y z. So what you need to do, f is been given to you, you need to find out what is f bar. Am I correct, students? So in order to find f bar, this is the function is given to you, both sides you just make bar. Okay, so do you all understand, students, what I did? This side I made complement, this side also I have to make complement, nothing else. So now can I write down this way, f bar is nothing else, if I apply De Morgan's theorem here, which is nothing else, your x or y bar is nothing else, break the bar and change the operator. Similarly I can do over here, x y bar, break the bar, change the operator or to dot. So x bar y z bar. Do you all understand what I did? I just break the bar and change the operator. Similarly, you can see here what I did, I have just applied the De Morgan's law. What De Morgan's law I have applied? This De Morgan's law I have applied here to change it to this way. Then again, this is also a complete inverting. This is also a complete inverting. So what I am going to do over here? So again, I can apply De Morgan's theorem to this. So this will be x, break the bar. So this is bar and change the operator. It is dot. So I am just changing the operator to y bar. Okay. Similarly, I'll keep it as it is. Similarly here what I have done, x bar or y bar or z bar. Okay, so similarly what we have applied here, I have applied this one, a and b and c whole bar is nothing else, break all the bars, change the all the operators. Okay, so this is the way I have applied here. Okay, this one. Then finally what I have done, I have just used x bar or y bars bar is what, y, because of I have used the involution theorem. What is involution, student? Involution is theorem number 3, I think, which is actually a bars bar is a. Similarly, I can use here x bars bar is x, y bar and z bar. So this is the final f bar. Do you all understand how to find out complement of a given function? You can use multiple times De Morgan's theorem. So I have used De Morgan's theorem here once. Again, I have used De Morgan's theorem over here. De Morgan's theorem. Okay, very simple. So you have to use multiple times De Morgan's theorem to find up to when we'll have all get inverters removed. Okay, so here there is no further total inverter. It's like all the literals, one literals actually. So literals inverter not a problem. Whole inverter will be there. Again, you have to perform the De Morgan's theorem. This is the way you can find out complement of a given function. This is method 1. Okay, so we'll see some other method. So method 2 is nothing else, using duality. Using duality. So what you need to do here, step 1 to find out the complement of a given function, using duality to find out complement of a given function. Okay, so the procedures are, please try to understand. Step 1 is your nothing else, find the dual of a given function. Step 1 is your find the dual of a given function. You know about it, how to find out the dual of a given function. How to do it? You just interchange the operators and interchange the identity element if any presents. Okay, so step 1 is find the dual of a given function. Step 2 is nothing else, complement each literal. After finding the duality, just complement each literals of the obtained dual function. Obtained dual function. Okay, do you understand, students? This is step 2. So using these 2 steps, I have to find out. Again, the same question will do. Find the complement of the given function. Find the complement of the given function f is x y bar or x bar yz. Okay, this is the given function is given to you. So we have to find out the inverter of it, complement of it. So here it asked you to find out f bar. Okay, so what you need to do, simple things. First step is what? Step 1 is your find the dual of a function. So f is given to you here, f is x y bar, x bar yz is given to you. Find out dual of f. So what is dual of f? Change the operator. Here it is AND operator, change it to OR operator. Here it is OR operator, change it to AND operator. And here it is AND operator, change it to OR operator. Here also AND operator, change it to OR operator. Okay. Next, step 2 is what? Step 2 is nothing else, our complement each literal. Complement each literal of the literal of dual f. Okay, if you do that, I'll get f bar. So f bar is what? Complement of each literal. So x is here x, you have to make complement x bar. Similarly, here it's y bar, make another complement. Okay, similarly here x bars bar complement, just you need to complement, nothing else, z bar. So you can see now you can apply the involution theorem. X bar, this is y bars, y is y, then x y bar or z bar. So this is my, I have used the involution theorem here. What is involution theorem? A or a bar is 1. So I have used this one. So you can see, you can tally it up. Whatever the result we have achieved earlier, we have achieved again here. So f bar is this one. So f bar is this one. Do you all understand, students? Two different ways to find out the complement of a given function. So it may be with the help of De Morgan's theorem. You can use multiple times De Morgan's theorem. Else you find out the dual of the given function and complement of that each literal of the dual function. So these are all literals. So just you have to make the complement of it, nothing else. So these are all literals. You have just find the complement of it. This is also y bar is a literal, y bars bar. X bar is a literal, x bars bar. Y is a literal, y bar, y bar. Z is a literal, z bar. X is literal, x bar. Like this way, you just find out the complement of each literals. Okay. Then apply the involution theorem. Involution theorem tells me that a or a bar is 1. That one only you have to. Sorry, involution theorem, not this one. So this one is a bars bar is a. Sorry guys. Okay. So this is the way you can finally do your solution. Okay, any doubt on this? If not, we'll proceed further. Okay, so next part of our syllabus is canonical form. So this is very important, students. Canonical form. So we are slowly moving towards the little bit important parts of our syllabus. Okay, so these are the things. So we have seen how to minimize. Okay, and next we have seen how to find out the complement of a given function till now, how to minimize the logic equation using Boolean algebra and postulates, and how to find out the complement of function we have studied till now. Next, canonical forms. Okay, what is canonical forms? There are mainly two types of canonical form. There are mainly two types of canonical forms. Okay, two types of canonical forms. Now the thing is, what are those two types? These are actually, first one, sum of min terms. So I will discuss those things, don't worry. And next one is product of max terms. So these are the two things. Okay, sum of min terms and product of max terms. Okay, do you all understand, students, what are those things? So how to express those things now is a question. So I will give you some of the examples. What is told, sum of min terms is nothing else, all the min terms finally summed. Okay, product of max term means all the max terms finally make product. Okay, so now question is, what is min terms and what are max terms? If you know these things, these are nothing else. This sum of min terms are nothing else. It's the sum of all the min terms. This is a min term, this is a min term. So this is min term 1, min term 2, min term 3. Finally, all these sum of min terms will give me final function, which is your sum of min terms. Similarly, product of max terms is nothing else. Product of, these are all max terms. Product, max terms, product, max terms, product to give me finally product of max terms. Okay, if you know what is min term and max term, it will be very easy for us to deal with those functions clearly. Okay, now how to represent those min terms and max term? What is min term and max term? So see here, this is nothing else, representation of min term and max term. If you know what is min term and max term, you can easily find out sum of min terms and product of max terms forms of function. Okay, so before starting the thing, I'll tell you two golden rules over here. What are those golden rules? In terms of min terms, while you are finding the min terms, remember 0 is in the form of complemented. I'll tell you, don't worry students, 1 is in the form of uncomplemented. Okay, similarly vice versa, max terms, during max terms what you need to do, 0 is in the form of uncomplemented, 1 is in the form of complemented. So these are the rules I will apply and represent the min terms and max terms. Please see here. So let's say this is my decimal. Okay, so please see here what way I am doing over here. So let's say the variables x, y, and z. Okay, so this is nothing else, your binary, you can say. Okay, next we'll move to the min terms. The min terms are like terms. What are the terms? And the designation of the particular terms. Designation. Okay. Similarly, the max terms, the terms, and the designation of the particular terms. We'll see those things over here. Okay, very simple. Please try to understand. If you are not understanding, ask me multiple times. This is very important. So let's say I'm going to find out the representation of decimal number starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, if you are not understanding, ask me immediately, student. How to represent binary of this decimal equivalent? Nothing else, very simple, by using weightage 2 to the 0, 2 to the 1, 2 to the 3. This will be 0, 0, 0. This will be 0, 0, 1. This will be 0, 1, 0. This will be 0, 1, 1. 4 is 1, 0, 0. 5 is 1, 0, 1. 1, 1, 0. And finally, 7 is 1, 1, 1. Am I clear, students? Next. What are terms here? The terms I have been telling here, those are actually min terms. I have told you one important concept here. What are those important concepts? Please try to understand. In terms of min terms, while you are representing the min terms, 0 means its uncomplemented form. Okay, 0 means its uncomplemented form. Okay, 0 means uncomplement, sorry, 0 means here complemented form. 0 means here min term complemented form. So if it is 0 of variable x, then represent in x bar, complemented form. Do you all understand, students? Similarly, min terms are product terms. So you have to pick next. Y is in complement form, make it y bar. Similarly, z is in 0, so it is z bar. Do you all understand? This is a term, x bar, y bar, z bar. What is designation? Designation is min term means small m, and designation of this is 0, m0. For decimal 0, the min term is x bar, y bar, z bar, and designation is m0. Okay. Similarly, here complemented means x bar, 0 means complemented, y bar, and z. Here it is not complemented, so it is z, and designation is m1, small m1. Similarly, here x bar, y, z bar, because 0 is complemented, z is complemented, x is complemented, and z is complemented. So I have written x bar and z bar. Y is in the true form. It's a 1 means uncomplemented form. So x bar, y, z bar. Okay. Do you all understand, student? Next, 3. 3 means what? X bar, y, z. So this will be m2. This is my m3. Similarly, x, y bar, z bar, m4. Similarly, x, y bar, z, m5. Next, x, y, z bar, m6. Next, x, y, z, which is m7. Do you understand, students? Wherever 0 is there, I treat as a complemented variable. Wherever 1 is there, I treat as a uncomplemented form. Okay, then I have produced those terms over there and designated over there. Similarly, for the max terms, what I will do, I'll just has to do this way. So it is little bit tough to hear. So just I'm just making it, erasing it here, so that it will be easier we can do over here. Okay. So what I am going to do here, very simple, nothing else. So max terms, what we have told, during finding out the max terms, what you need to do, these are the terms and the designation. Okay. So for that, what I have to do, during min terms, 0 is complemented. During max term, finding out during max term, 0 is what? 0 is now uncomplemented form, just the ulta, and 1 is in the form of complemented form. Okay. So see here, it's 0 means here uncomplemented. Term will be x, and y is also 0, so uncomplement y, but here or. Okay, here it is or during max term. So and it is z, like this, and it will be designated with capital M. Max term means capital M 1. Similarly, here x is 0. 0 means uncomplemented. X 0 means y is uncomplemented or z bar. So this is M2. Similarly, x, y bar, z. Okay. Do you all understand? M3. Wherever there is 1, make it complement. Next, M4. M4 is wherever there is 0 uncomplemented form, means x, y bar, z bar, which is M4. Similarly, this is up to M4 we have done. Okay. Next, M5. M5 is x bar, y, z, which is M5. Okay. Sorry, z bar. Okay. Next, x bar, y bar or z, M6. M7 is x bar, y bar, z bar. Very simple, nothing else. These are all M0 to, sorry, this is M0, this is M1, M2, M3 I have forgot, I think. Yes. You have done a small mistake over here, students. So this is your M3. Okay. So this is your M0. Okay. This is your M0. Next, x, y, z bar. So this will be M1 is x bar, y bar, z. Here, sorry, M1 is your x, y, z bar. So this is your M1, obviously. Next, M2 is your x, y bar, z, because 0 is in the form of uncomplemented, 1 is in the form of complemented. So this is your M2. What is M3? M3 we have not written here. M3 is x, y bar, z bar. So this is your M3. So this is your M3. Okay. Now this is your M3. What is M4? M4 is your x bar or y or z. This is your M4. Okay. Do you all understand, students? Very simple. X bar, y or z. Then finally M5 is x bar, y, z bar. M5. M6 is x bar, y bar plus z, which is M6. M7 is x bar plus y bar plus z bar, M7. So this is called terms and the designations of the min terms and max term. Now the question is how to represent it. Let's say a given question is given to you. Let's say the we'll see how to represent those things. So with some examples, don't worry, students. Okay. So here, let's the function is given to you. So one example I'll tell you. Let's say question 1. Let's say f is x bar, y, z bar, or x, y, z, or x bar, y bar, z bar is given to you. So what you need to do, I have told you. So you have to represent this in the form of min terms. So it asked you represent it in the form of represent the function f in the form of min terms. What you need to do, students? So very simple. Take the function f like this: x bar, y, z bar, or x, y, z, or x bar, y bar, z bar. So what we know in min terms, while you are converting, finding out the min terms, 0 is in complemented form and 1 is in uncomplemented form. You know it. Okay. We have seen those terms and designations. So you just put it over there. Wherever the complement form is there, put 0. Wherever the uncomplement form is there, put 1. 0. Here uncomplement form, just put 1. Here again complement form, put 0. So finally find out the designation, decimal with the decimal equivalent. This will be small m2, this will be small m7, this will be small m0. So this is in the form of min terms. Also you can express this in this form: summation of small m 0 to 7. So small m, summation of small m means this is min terms. Small m means represented in min terms. Okay, all are sum because I have to do with sum of min terms. Do you all understand? This function f is in the form of sum of min terms. These are all one min terms finally summed up to get the particular minterm representation. Okay, do you all understand, students? I'll show you another example. So please try to understand. Second
Sir,
example.
once can you repeat that, sir?
Which one I have to report? This one, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'll just explain again one more example. See here. So let's say my function is like this: x y bar z, or x bar y z, or x y z bar. Let's say like this. Okay, what I told you, min terms will be expressed for 0. It will be in complement. Okay, 1 means it is uncomplement. Okay, do you understand, students? So what you need to do, wherever uncomplement is there, this is uncomplement form, so you put 1. Wherever complement form is there, what you need to put? 0. Wherever uncomplement, put 1. Plus is as it is. So wherever complement form, put 0. Wherever uncomplement form, put 1 1. Next, 1 1 0. Z bar is complement form. So what do you understand from this? So this is what actually 5. This is 101 is 5. So these are in min terms. So that's why M5. Similarly, this is 3. M3. So this is M6. So finally, we can also represent it in the form of summation of f, which is nothing else 3, 5, and 6. So summation of M is actually min terms. Okay, M is represented as min terms. Summation of M is it's actually sum of min terms. Okay, it's actually sum of min terms. So this is sum of min terms. So sum of min terms are M, summation of M 3, 5, 6. So if in the question, let's say, is given to you summation of M 1 to 5, what you need to do, students? How to express the particular function? Very simple. Just you need to make it like this: M1, M2, and M5. Do you all understand? Summation of M means it would be sum. So it's in the form of sum of min terms. So min terms are given to you. Min terms means small m, represented as small m. M1 means what? 0 0 1. M2 means what? 0 1 0. M5 means what? 1 0 1. Do you all understand? Now what is min terms? Min terms, 0 is represented for complement form, 1 is represented for uncomplement form. So for 0, you make complement form. Let's say this function is x, y, z variables. Then make it x bar, y bar, z. Z1 is means uncomplement, so z. Similarly, x bar, y, z. Similarly, x, y bar, z. Then finally, you can express this is my function. So you can convert function to min terms and min terms to functions. This is the way. Okay, I'll give you one more example over here. You can see it over this. So third example. So let's say the function is given to you now, x y bar or yx. So here the function is what? Actually two variable function. So I can write down this function is a two variable function. What is the meaning of it? The function can be developed. The function can be developed with two variables only. What are those variables? X and y. The literals may be of particular values x and y, but not other variables. Here the function is clearly defined, f of xy. So if the question is given f of xy or is given f, everything is same. So f of xy is given here. How? F of xy is x, y bar or yx. They asked you to represent in sum of min terms. What will you do, students? Very simple. As we know that this is x means it's uncomplement form. What will you put here? 1. Y bar is 0. Similarly, y is 1, x is 1. So obviously what it would be? It will be, and one more thing, you have to represent all in order x, y. Okay, then you can put this 1 0 or 1 1. Okay, then this will be M2 and M4. Okay, so this will be in this form, summation of M 2, 4. Any doubt, students? Please let me know immediately. Any doubt on this? Immediately, how we have represented our min terms and a function, from the function to the min term to the function. Okay, next we'll see another example. Let's say example number 4. We can see, let's say the function is like this now: x or y or z bar and x or y or z, and x bar or y bar and or z. Now see here, this is in which form now? Product of max terms. So these are all products, product of max terms. So these are all one max terms. Am I correct, student? These are all max terms, and finally it has been product, max term 1, max term 2, max term 3, and finally this actually product. So this is product of max terms. Okay, product of max term. This is in the form of product of max term. So you all know that what is max term representation rule. Max term representation rule means 0 is there, means it's uncomplemented. If uncomplement variable is there, put 0. If complement variable is there, then put 1. Okay, so see here what I am doing. F, here it is uncomplement variable, so what you need to put, student? 0. Uncomplement variable 0, complement variable put 1. Then similarly here, uncomplement variable, what you need to put? 0. Uncomplement variable 0, uncomplement variable 0. Next complement variable 1, 1 and 0. So now you know that these are all max terms. So capital M, you have to represent, designate with capital M. So this is 0, 0, 1 means 1, and capital M0 and capital M6. So you can also represent this with pi, pi of M0, 1, 6. Do you all understand, students? Okay, you can understand now. Capital M means it's a max terms, pi means it's a product of max terms. This will be your product of max terms. Okay, and M is nothing else, your max terms. Okay, do you all understand? You can also express this in this way: pi 0, 1, 6. No need of writing capital M. Okay, pi means itself product of max term. So obviously 0 is a max term, 1 is a max term, 6 is a max term, to form this function f, which is product of max terms. Do you understand? Any doubt, students? Please let me know immediately. Very important concept I told now. Okay, do you all understand how to represent? I will do you one more example so that we can move to the next part. Let's say example number 5 here. Let's say the function is given to you, which is actually a comma b comma c. So if it is given like this, a function is built up of only 3 variables a, b, c. It takes either literals of a bar and a, b bar and b, c bar and c, but it will be built up of only these 3 particular variables. Okay, so let's say a bar or b or c bar. Okay, and a bar or b bar or c bar, and a or b or c. Okay, let's say this function is like this. So what you have to do, you know that very good rule, what to represent 0 means it's uncomplement, 1 means it's complement. So if there is complement variable, put 0. If there is uncomplement variable, put 1. Okay, 0. So this is complement, put 1. This is uncomplement, put 0. This is complement, put 1. Next, complement, put 1. Complement, put 1. Complement, put 1. Next, uncomplement, put 0. 0, 0. So finally, you will be designated with capital M, which is 1015. This is 7111. This is 0. So finally, you can write down this pi M 057. Also, you can represent this way 057. Any doubt, students? Very, very important concept I have told you. You are going to use these things pretty often from now. Okay. So do you all understand, or any doubt? Please let me know. Did you all understand how I have represented the min terms and max terms from a function, or functions to the max terms and all? Okay, now very, very important concept I will tell you by using these things. Okay, so see here what you need to do. If somebody will ask you what will be the question, the question will be like this. Okay, represent the function. So represent the given function in canonical form. Okay, represent the given function in canonical form. Canonical form. So what is canonical form? There are two ways to represent canonical form. One is sum of minterm and product of minterms. Okay, so what you need to do, see here, let's say given function is given to you f of x y z, which is nothing else x y bar, z bar, or x bar y z. So this is the function is given to you and asked to you to find the canonical form of it. Okay, so what you need to do, see here. So very important question. You can expect surely one of the question in the midterms. Very important this question. You may expect a 5-mark question from this. Okay, so you can see. So if the asked to you canonical form, what you need to do, you have to represent either in the form of summation of m or pi of m. So obviously this is actually what actually in the term of minterms, because and will be there. So these are not in a standard form. So what you need to do, you first has to make it in a standard form. What is standard form now? Each term, what is standard form? Each term must consist of all the variables. Are you understanding, student? Here there is missing z, here there is missing xy in second term, here there is no missing term. Here missing is your z, here missing your xy, here missing is your nothing missing. So if you can express all these terms in all those variables, then easily I can find out the canonical form. Am I correct, student? Either it will be in sum of min terms or sum of max product of max terms. Either it will be in sum of min terms or in the product of max terms. So obviously this is sum of min terms, so I will not bother about the product of max terms. So see here what I am doing actually. What is step 1? Step 1 is telling me here, very important. So see here, if you are not understanding, ask me immediately. Okay, so see here what I am going to do actually, how I am representing this. So see, so what I am going to do, first step 1 is find the missing term, identify the missing variable in each term. Step 1 is telling me here, what is step 1? I am writing here step 1. Identify the missing variables in each term. So what you need to do, in each term you need to find out the missing variable. This is a term, what is missing variable? Z. In this is another term, what is the missing variable? X comma y. Any missing variable is there? No missing variable. Okay, so here we have find out there is a missing variable z in this term. Here we have find out there is a missing variable x and y in this term, second term. In third term there is no missing variable. Okay, now step 2. What is step 2 is telling? Step 2 is telling me that for every missing variable, do the AND operation with 1. For every missing variable, do AND operation with 1. Why? Because 1 is the identity element of AND operator. Why? If we make x and 1, it will not change my function. Understand? That's why how many number of missing variables is there, just multiply that number of ones and operate with that number of ones. So in step 2 is telling me here z is missing, so only 1 you make AND operation. Okay, similarly here x and y are missing, so make 1 and 1 and y. Okay, similarly here no variable is missing, I just keep as it is. Do you all understand, students? Here I have just identified the missing variable, z here missing, here xy missing, here no missing. Then how many number of missing is there? That many AND operation you do with 1, because 1 is the identity element. If I perform 1 with AND with any variable, it will not going to change my function. Okay, now what you have to do in like step 3, please try to understand, very simple way I am telling you, student. Replace 1 replace 1 with the missing variables. Missing variables. So what we know, 1 is nothing else. Your A or A bar is 1. We know that. And wherever 1 is there, with the help of true form or with complement form is equal to 1. We know that. So you put that over there. XY bar. Make 1 is actually your, what is missing here? Z. Make it in this form. Z or Z bar. Do you all understand, students? Here 1 is here for this X or X bar. Okay. Here Y or Y bar and Y. Sorry, this is Z. So this is Z. So here also I have made a small mistake. Okay. So here it is Z. Here also Z. And finally, this is nothing is missing. Keep it is as it is. Okay. Do you all understand what I did in step 3? I have been replaced 1 with the missing variables in this form. What is this form? Existence of complement. Okay. I've just used that formula, nothing else. Okay. Next, what I am going to do, I just use the distributive law. Step 4 is telling me here, apply distributive law. Apply distributive property. Distributive law. So what is distributive law? So simply, if you have done this, this will be mine X, Y bar, Z. Okay. Next, X, Y bar, Z bar. Next, X, Y, Z. Next, X, Y bar, Z. Next, X bar, Y, Z. Next, X bar, Y bar, Z. Finally, X bar, Y, Z. So this term has been divided into 4 different terms. Okay, do you all understand, students, how I have done? If you want, you can do one more step over here. What is the step? You can perform it like this. So you make it as it is, X, Y bar, Z, X, Y bar, Z bar. And here what you can do, make it like this, XY or X bar. So XY and X bar, Y bar, plus you can make it like XY bar and X bar Y, X Y, X Y bar. Okay, X bar Y. Okay, you can also make it like this, plus X bar Y Z. Understand this one as it is. Okay, this you can make it like this, and finally you can make it in this form. So I have just applied the distributive law. Next, what I need to do, I just has to know that these are my min terms. Min terms into what? 0 means it is in the form of, 0 means it is in the form of what, students? Complemented. Whatever the complemented variables will be there, put 0. Whatever the uncomplemented variables will be there, put 1. So here this is uncomplemented, put 1. Y bar is 0, 1. Similarly here uncomplemented, put 1, 0, 0. Similarly 1, 1, 1. Similarly 1, 0, 1. Similarly 0, 1, 1. Similarly 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, and finally 0, 1, 1. Now you identify what are those things. This is M5, M4, M7, M7, M5, M3, M1, M3. Now last step, step 5. What is left? Step 5, wherever the repeated terms are there, just ignore 1, 1 terms. Here it is repeated, M5, M5. Here also M3, M3. Those 2 terms, just drop it out. Okay, why we have dropped it out? Because we know that X or X is X. Okay, do you all understand? X or X is X. X or X is X. That's why we have reduced. So finally our equation is M1, M3, M4, M5, M7. So what is that? Summation of 1, 3, 4, 5, 7. Do you all understand, students? So this is actually your canonical form. Any doubts, students? Please let me know. Very simple way I have illustrated here. What is step one? Step one is identify the missing variable. Here I have identified missing variable is z. Here I have identified missing variable x and y. Here no missing variable. Okay. Next, what I have done, where whatever number of missing variables, make AND operator with 1. Okay. So I got x, here missing variable is z. Okay. So we have put z or z bar is 1. Similarly, here missing variable is 1. So here x or x bar is 1. Okay. Similarly, one y or y bar is 1. Okay. Next, what I have done, replace 1 with this way. Next, finally, we have just applied the distributive law over here. Okay. After finding the distributive law, we have put those golden rule. Min terms means 0 is in complemented form. Any complementary variable is there, put 0. Any uncomplemented variable is there, put 1. After that, we have represented and find out wherever there is repeated terms will be there. Drop 1 terms. As we know that x or x is x, which is not, which is what actually we know that this is actually your idempotency, because idempotency we have used this. If any repeated terms, so this will be x y bar z, and also there is x y bar z. So these are all repeated, so I just has to drop one of this variable. Okay, because as we know that ab or c, so obviously one term, the finally ab or so, because there is repeated, so I'm just using idempotency to do so. Finally I got these midterms. Okay, which is actually canonical form. Canonical form, do you all understand, students? Each and every term must consisting of all the variables. Okay, so that is called canonical form. So this much today, students. I think everybody understand the concept, or any doubt, please let me know immediately. Any doubt, students?